see these eyes so green. I can stare for 1,000 years. Just be still with me. To wouldn't believe what I've been through.
I love you.
Been so long. It's been so long. Putting out the fire. Putting out fire. With gasoline.
So this guy Paul Schrader,
Yo,
he wrote this movie called Taxi Driver,
yo.
and that sort of secured him a career in Hollywood. And it seems like no matter how problematic a movie he makes, he still gets to make another movie. Paul Schrader is interesting because he's one of these guys. I see his name like, ooh, Paul Schrader. Maybe it'll be good. And then, as often as not, I'm disappointed. But for some reason, I'm still interested to watch the next Paul Schrader movie. It's like I've got this fucking masochistic relationship going on with him.
Well, he's written a lot of screenplays, man. I mean,
He's done some interesting work.
Raging Bull, Mosquito Coast, Last Temptation of Christ, Light Sleeper. In one year, he did both Touch and Affliction. He did Bringing Out the Dead.
Yeah, so like he has done great things, but as a director too. Lee's our talking IMDb for this movie. I'm interested in Schrader, but I usually find, specifically as a director, there's usually problems for me.
Yeah.
I find Cat People one of his more accessible films. That said, it's very 80s, and it's sort of possessed. It's made in the early 80s, but it's still possessed of that late 70s horror movie vibe.
Yes.
Where it's gonna really take its time. It's gonna just sort of seep into you with its atmosphere and its vibe.
And I enjoyed that actually about this particular movie.
If you catch the wave of that vibe, it'll suck you in and it'll carry you along in this sort of interesting, sexy story.
Mm-hmm.
But if it doesn't, you're going to be bored to fucking tears.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's a movie that I recommend, but I don't necessarily think it's a movie that everybody would like.
Yes.
So it's a tricky number for me. What do you think of Cat People, Paul Schrader's remake of a 1942 horror movie?
Well, let's do the plot here. Irina, or is it Irene? I can't remember.
Irina?
Anyway, she moves to New Orleans to reconnect with her brother Paul.
Long lost, estranged brother.
Yes. And while she's there, she gets a job at a zoo around the time that Paul mysteriously disappears, and a Black Panther
Shows up
at the zoo after having mauled somebody. She falls in love with the head zookeeper, trying to make sense of her new life in New Orleans. And it's around that time that the cat mauls one of the zookeepers, killing him, and then Paul reappears, telling her that she and he are of an ancient race of incestuous werecats that turn into panthers when they mate with somebody, and only killing somebody can turn them back.
Yeah.
And the only people that it's safe to mate with are people in their own family.
And as far as they know, the only people are each other.
Yes. Which is too bad for her because she's just fallen in love with Oliver.
Yeah.
So
it is pretty out there. It's pretty strange. It's a different movie. We haven't seen this story told many, many times before.
have you seen the original Cat People? Because I haven't.
I have not.
Yeah.
I have not.
It makes me curious about it because I think the plot, or the idea of it anyway, is relatively similar, which is pretty out there stuff for an old movie.
Yeah.
The fact that they play this story pretty straight, like they go for it,
Yeah.
as a sort of a kinky sexual thriller, especially Kinski. She plays it pretty straight, and I think that takes a feat to do that.
Yeah.
The set design is also gorgeous to look at.
Beautiful locations in New Orleans,
Love
particularly
New Orleans.
the zoo.
Yeah.
Ferdinando Scarafotti and Albert Whitlock combined to make the sets and the special effects. That red haze, that sand in the first 5 minutes, like that's just a gorgeous painting to look at.
Mm-hmm. It was only about halfway through this movie that I started realizing too that, hey, this is a really, really well written movie, because the dialogue at up until this point I just acknowledged as being realistic, but then they start saying really profound things like, She thinks his fear is courage. He thinks his fear is love.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorite one is Malcolm McDowell delivering the line, "That's the lie that will kill your lover. At least let me spare you that horror." It really takes an Englishman to deliver some lines, doesn't it? To just add gravity to that.
Ruby Dee has a line that she delivers to Natasha Kinski late in the day when she finds out, spoilers, after her brother has died. And she's like, well, then there's no love for you.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to pretend that the world is what men think it is.
Yes. And Ruby Dee, great performance. Natasha Kinski, great performance.
You.
John Hurd, great performance.
You.
Malcolm McDowell is Malcolm McDowell as
Malcolm
usual.
McDowell is an extra.
Malcolm McDowell basically walks around, pardon the expression, like a bitch in heat. Even the first scene when he sees his sister, it's almost like he's completely stalking her. Like,
Yeah.
I like sort of the weird animalistic affectations that he does, but he is playing it way bigger than everybody else in the movie. It draws attention to itself, and not always in a good way.
yeah.
But I think that what's troubling me, gentlemen, is the person that you guys haven't mentioned in the cast. Because as far as I'm concerned, Natasha Kinski, meh. Annette O'Toole is so fucking hot in this movie.
Annette O'Toole made me burn with passion in a way that no other pair of titties in any of these movies did. And
She is gorgeous. She played Beverly Marsh in the TV version of It, so I've always associated her with that. Seeing her here so young and so sexy and playing such a badass. She kills a panther with a fucking shotgun in this movie. And man, I was having a hard time keeping my hands above the equator.
when I saw her, I was like, this movie's called. This is a show. This whole podcast. It's about titties, right? I'm gonna get to see them, right? And so every time I saw her, I was on edge. And then there is a wonderful payoff. Not to spoil, but
See, the German in me chooses Kinski all the way. I just get that sort of
It's okay.
vibe.
I like having different voices. Somebody has to be wrong. The problem is just genuinely, like, there's a love triangle. She's in love with John Hurd, and Natasha Kinski's in love with John Hurd. And in my head, there is no fucking contest there. Mm-hmm. There's the absolutely gorgeous woman who loves you and shares your interests, and there's this cold, distant weirdo
who is also a werecat who might kill you.
Yeah, who's very well behaved. And him being a dumbass dude always goes for the crazier of the two chicks, right?
Yeah.
But,
I just love the line of his in the movie where he asks, "Are you scared?" when it's clear that he's the one who's scared, and he delivers this line. It's so good. So good.
It's weird because Paul Schrader had a whole decade of writing sort of like weird, almost painful, sexy drama thrillers. We've got American Gigolo, we've got Hardcore, which is like really dark, guilty, sexuality, and Cat People is just another one in this series of, where definitely his Catholicism just sort of like, or Catholic guilt, if you want to call it, really sort of rings through a lot of these movies where the sex is sort of like ugly, but at the same time beautifully.
I think the sex for the most part works for me in this movie. There's an ugly scene between Malcolm McDowell and a prostitute that I was like icked out by, but I think we're supposed to be icked out by it.
But there's a
creepy.
guilt to the sex in a lot of his movies. Like Hardcore's got some.
In a lot of his movies, I agree, but I didn't feel it as much in this one. I know there's a danger associated with her sexuality, but I didn't feel the shame.
Well, the sex is basically murder. So there's a lot of sort of like sex is bad with this movie.
I'm with Lee on this one, actually. It's the sex is murder, and also the idea that it's scary.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
But the implicit sort of time between sex and violence in her character, there's a scene where she walks outside of the place where she's staying, and when she gets outside, she strips off all of her clothes, and she hunts down on her hands and knees a rabbit and kills it. Yeah. But there was obviously something sexual about it as well. It wasn't just an act of violence.
But eventually you're made to feel sort of guilty and wrong about it. And that's just a common thread.
The crux of her character is that if she sleeps with anyone other than her brother, she will turn into an animal and kill them.
Yeah.
I think the metaphor is that happens to a lot of people. They're just not werecats. But once they have sex with somebody, all of a sudden, they become super possessive, or, something turns in them that changes the relationship, and not necessarily in a good way.
Brilliant. That's another wonderful, sophisticated angle to the screenplay. But I think we'd be doing a disservice to the show by not talking about some of the great special effects in this movie too. I love Paul leaping onto the bed frame with perfect balance. I'm sure that was done by reverse motion or something like that. I like the realistic evaporating panther corpse they managed to get, and then most of
The
all,
whole autopsy of the cat was nasty. Yeah.
but also so shocking is the scene where she actually transforms into the werecat for the first time, and the cat face just pushes through her own, and you see that
because they've been so reserved with the special effects in the movie, it has real impact. You're like, what the fuck?
It's shocking.
Yeah.
So shocking.
Speaking of shocking, our favorite friendly environmentalist, Ed Begley Jr.
Oh yes.
You know, he
Poor
seems like
Ed.
a hot-headed kind of, full of himself dude, but it turns out he's pretty harmless.
Poor Ed.
Thank you. I'm here all night. He works at the zoo with them, and he's got a few lines. He's one of the boys, and he's trying to get this panther under control, and grabs hold of his arm and rends it free of his body. And not typical, a lot of times in movies, wounds like that are, it'll be fine. Throw some dirt on it. We'll take you to the hospital. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
No, that's a traumatic injury. You will bleed out very quickly. He is fucking dead, and it is horrifying.
It is.
And it's a strong sequence. This is like, I didn't have a clear memory of the movie, but I remember seeing at a young age that scene and being very disturbed by it, but I didn't associate it with cat people.
Yeah.
When I rewatched it and saw Ed Begley Jr., I was like, oh, dude, it's not going to work out for you, buddy.
So, this movie haunted my thoughts for days after I watched it. And part of that is because of the final scene where Irina has... Her brother is dead. She can no longer have love. And she's unfortunately still in love with Oliver. So she is basically trapped by her fate. And she says to him, "Then free me." And then he proceeds to tie her to the bed and have sex with her.
As an act of compassion.
As an act of compassion. And then she spends the rest of her life in captivity as a panther in his zoo.
In his zoo, and he visits her every day.
This
She's
kind
putting out the fire with gasoline.
This kind of irony is so brilliant. So brilliant. It's art. It is art.
It's one of the saddest endings to a movie that I can think of, and this is a weird pull, since being John Malkovich, where the John Cusack character is sort of stuck in this place where he gets to see the people that he loves, but not be with them forever.
Yep.
Good times.
Good times.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Titties.
Titties.